On this episode of Lava Lamp Zone, we have the honor and pleasure to sit down with my man, Cherokee Bux, a world-class MC and all-around solid individual from Santa Ana, California. Being that I migrated here myself, I wanted to get a little more understanding on the black culture that was here before I arrived. So sit back and relax as my man Cherokee Bux gives us the rundown on black culture in Santa Ana, California.
Cherokee Bux, aka Bucks of Burn from Hoodlum West, out of the old Santa Ana. What's up, y'all? Pleasure to be here, man. Shout out to my man G Wiz from the Lava Lamp Zone. I was born in Cincinnati, Ohio. I am from the projects, bow-legged baby out of the Cincinnati projects. You know what I'm saying? So, born in Cincinnati by way of Kentucky, Alabama, and Tennessee. Yeah, that's where my grandma, Mary Ann, God bless my grandma. Rest in peace, Grandma Mary Ann. Shout out to my grandma, Mama Parker, by way of Alabama. But you know, it was by the way of them two, from Kentucky, my granddaddy from Tennessee, Dottie, gangster man Dottie, and my other grandparents out of Alabama, John Henry Parker and Mama Parker, Dottie and Mary Ann. You know, I come from the South, man. My roots are from the South like every other black man here in America. You know what I'm saying? But from there, me and my mama and my uncle Mose, God bless the dead, came from Cincinnati, Ohio, born 1974. 1977, we got out in a car and drove to California. When I was 3, I first spent 1 year in HB. A lot of people don't know that about me. My first stop in California was in Huntington Beach. We stopped in Huntington Beach for a year. So I spent from 3 years old to 4 years old in Huntington Beach. And now from 4 to the age of 46, I'm 46 now. So the last 42 years, I've been a resident of Santa Ana, California. Yeah. Oh man, Santa Ana back in them days, back in the early 80s, you know, I was young. Like I said, I was a boy. I was a little boy, 4, 5, 6 years old. But back then, as far as I can remember, you know, Santa Ana was a black community. You know what I'm saying? It started in the 70s. So there was a lot more black folks from down south. And because of that there was Baptist churches, Southern Baptist churches up and down Bristol Street, all over Santa Ana, California. And you know, a lot of people know where you find Southern Baptist churches, you're gonna find some Southern Baptist blacks. You know what I'm saying? So I think at the time it was a little cheaper to live in Santa Ana. It was a little cheaper than Los Angeles. You know what I'm saying? So a lot of people, instead of going to Los Angeles, which was also a major hub for black people from the South, black people from the Midwest who had moved up out of the South, trying to get away from the South, coming out west, instead of going to Los Angeles, a lot of black people started coming to Santa Ana because the churches were here, the Baptist churches were here. And then from there, you started getting your black businesses. So I do remember Santa Ana being a black community. There was definitely black folks back in the 80s, and there was black businesses. There was people with black businesses, you know what I'm saying? So that's one of the things I can remember. And I remember those businesses. No, these were old timers, or you know, black people in their middle age and stuff. I remember there was Burrell's Barbecue. Shout out to Burrell. A lot of people remember and know Burrell's Barbecue. There was Mr. Tippins. Mr. Tippins had a fish fry, you know what I'm saying? They brought their culture here. They brought that barbecue. They brought that fish fry, the entrepreneurial spirit that was coming from Black Wall Street. Same thing you had in Black Wall Street, it was starting to set up right here, you know what I'm saying? So we had Burrell's Barbecue, we had Tippins Fish Fry. Shout out to Miss Ruth's place, you know what I'm saying? That was a soul food restaurant off of Bristol and Civic Center. And a lot of people remember, God damn me, I can't forget his name right now. I could kick a chicken, but his name, his shop was called the Ghetto Records Shop. The Ghetto Records Shop, right there off of Bristol and Civic Center. A lot of old school people know Ghetto Records, you know what I'm saying? That was a big black business. Everybody got their vinyl from Ghetto Records. We're talking in the 80s, you know what I'm saying? And Ghetto Records might have been the longest lasting black business because he was there all the way up until I think the early 2000s. He was still there in the early 2000s. I mean, he just left not too long ago, you know what I'm saying? Not too long ago. So Ghetto Records was there for decades, you know what I'm saying? This was a black business. So you had Burrell's, you had Mr. Tippins, you had Roof's Place, you had Ghetto Records, and one of the black businesses that really affected me personally, and a lot of the kids and a lot of the people that I know from my generation, was a black daycare center called Pride Development. Yeah, Pride Development. So if you mention Pride Development of Santa Ana to an old school person like me, they gonna know that you coming from the old Santa Ana. You know what I'm saying? Pride Development. Shout out to Miss Bray, man. Shout out to Miss Bray. The people know Miss Bray because Miss Bray will grab you by her. She'll take her hands and grab you by that ear and pull you a half a mile by that ear. You know what I'm saying? Back in them days, it was a different set of rules. You know what I'm saying? It was a different set of rules. But yeah, that was a black daycare center, man. But all kind of kids went to Pride Development, man. Pride Development. You had black, white kids, Mexican kids, Asian kids, you know what I'm saying? Sandy was a Mexican lady. She used to go there, volunteer from time to time. You know what I'm saying? So shout out to all my cats from Pride Development. You know what I'm saying? Y'all know who you is. Yeah, yeah. In the 80s came crack cocaine and came gangbanging. And this happened to every black culture all around America, you know. So when cocaine and the gangs came, that whole sense of black community, that whole sense of black business, that whole sense of black church that was being established here, it started becoming destroyed and it started leaving. And a lot of the strong black men that were involved in them type things was either dying or going to jail. So while this was happening, while gangs and cocaine was happening, right here, right out of our right side of the eye, where you couldn't even see them coming until they got here. And when they got here, they came from that right flank. I'm talking about the Mexican community. The Mexican community was coming in strong at the same time the black community was breaking down. The Mexican community was coming in strong, and I mean strong. They was coming deep, you know what I'm saying? And they was coming ready to work. They was coming ready to set up their church, ready to get their jobs, even if they had to live 10, 15 people in one house to make ends meet and then break away when it was time to break away. Now they owning houses. Now Santa Ana is a rich Mexican community built in Mexican tradition, you know what I'm saying? And that's where I grew up. I grew up with Mexicans. I fuck with the Mexicans for sure, man, 100%. I grew up eating Mexican food. Grew up dating Mexican women, you know what I'm saying? So grew up having respect for the Mexican culture, you know what I'm saying? You gotta remember, Tijuana is right down the street, you know what I'm saying? We about an hour and a half from San Diego. Tijuana is right next door to San Diego. So it wasn't nothing for them to just come up through Santa Ana and set up shop. And they did that in a real way. There was a little run-ins from time to time here and there in Santa Ana, but it was nothing like you might have seen up in LA. You know what I'm saying? You might have had a problem here or there, but you know, like I said, our numbers were starting to dwindle at that time. You know what I'm saying? So our numbers were dwindling, their numbers were rising. So, you know, it wasn't nothing serious ever really took place as far as the black culture and the Mexican culture getting into it like that. And so, you know, we accepted them, they accepted us, and we lived in a tight little harmony for decades now. Yeah, hip hop since day one, man, as far as I can remember. You know, a lot of people in the 2000s, you know, people got their hip hop from the TV. They got their hip hop from the internet, you know what I'm saying? I got my hip hop from when I used to go back and visit Cincinnati, you know what I'm saying? I go back to Cincinnati and shout out to my cousin Yogi, man. Rest in peace to Yogi, you know what I'm saying? Yogi, man, my cousin Yogi died inside of a nightclub one time. He caught a stray bullet, but you know, Yogi was like, I'm talking like this is like 80, 82, 83, 1980, you know what I'm saying? Yogi was the best beatboxer in all of Tennessee, best beatboxer in Cincinnati, Ohio. He was the best beatboxer in the Midwest, you know what I'm saying? So I would go back home in the early 80s and I would see cats out there in the projects, you know what I'm saying? Ezra Charles Drive projects right across the street from Taft High School. You know what I'm saying? I would see cats right out there out on the street in a cypher. You know what I'm saying? So I seen it as a little boy with my own eyes in the 80s, way before it even hit the TV screen. You know what I'm saying? Way before it hit the radio. You know what I'm saying? I was seeing cats cypher up, cats freestyling, breakdancing, beatboxing, graffiti on the wall. You know what I'm saying? Talking that talk, walking that walk. It's what we call hip hop, yeah. Back then it wasn't deep like that, not so much. I mean, it may be like that now, or it may have been like that for a time back in the 90s, but it wasn't like that. Like I said, the numbers weren't deep, so you would have little pockets. You would have little pockets of it here and there, you know what I'm saying? You know, shout out to KMC. That was the first group. Those are my OGs when it comes to rapping, you know what I'm saying? Travis Lane and Lamont, yeah, and Ivan, you know what I'm saying? KMC, those were my OGs. They actually got signed to Ruthless Records, I believe, back in the day. You know what I'm saying? Let me know, Travis, if I'm wrong, but I believe it was Ruthless Records. They was actually signed to them before, was it Ruthless or was it Death Row? One of the two, man, but they were supposed to come out before Snoop Dogg and them. You know what I'm saying? They was before Snoop. You know what I'm saying? My OGs. And, you know how the politics goes. They never really came out on Ruthless. I think they messed with Delicious Vinyl, and they dropped the album with Delicious Vinyl instead of waiting for Ruthless or waiting for Death Row, whoever they were signed with. So, you know, those were the cats that I looked up to. KMC, shout out to my man Mayfield, Ernest Mayfield from TDK, Adrian Steen from TDK, Too Dope and Chaotic. See, there was like a 3-crew unit, and we all had the name Chaos. There was Chaotic Minds Corrupted, those were the OGs. There was TDK, stood for Too Dope and Chaotic, and then there was my crew, me, Takuma, and Steve, Blue. You know what I'm saying? Dame, Kuma, Steve, we were the Chaos Committee. So you had, you know what I'm saying, KMC, Chaotic Minds Corrupted, TDK, Too Dope and Chaotic, Adrian, Ernest, and Lumberjack. You know what I'm saying? Lumberjack was the DJ, rapper, all that. And then you had Chaos Committee. You know what I'm saying? This is all back in the early 80s, you know what I'm saying? So those were some of the first rap groups and rap people that I can recall. You know what I'm saying? Shout out to Bux and them, you know what I'm saying? They've been around doing it from the early 80s and before, making their music too. So there's all kind of different pockets of black rap as far as black rap is concerned right here in Santa Ana. Yeah.